We got Jess with us tonight, or is it this way? I don't know. I don't have it up yet.
You're
Either way. What's up? How's it going, Jess? It's been a long time. How are you?
Doing okay. Still getting over kind of a bit of the sickness at the moment, but we've been talking about doing this for so long. I'm just happy it's happening.
Right?
Oh,
and
no.
I'm so oh no. Oh
What
no.
news? Having problems.
You know, that's the
I'm
funny
still here.
Oh, see, as long as we still got you. I mean, we'd love to see your beautiful face, but
I'm figuring it out. Some new software for those in the audience. So working out some bugs here.
You know, this is the best place to work out bugs, though. Like, we're chill here. We're just chilling. But guys, welcome back to the House of Flux. Come on in, take a seat. We're all just chilling tonight. And the best part about tonight is, I mean, other than that Jess is here, is that we've been talking about this literally since Matsuri, which was a lot of months ago. And I'm like super excited for this because we're starting. This is my favorite episode. I love this episode so much. And for those of you who don't know what we are talking about, oh no, I closed the wrong window. Damn it. Hold on. Let me just re-pull it back up.
Hey, John, Bad Duck, Vince. MLS was here at some point.
Oh yeah, what's up? Sorry guys, I meant to say hey too. Who do we have in that? Norma in the house. What's up, Norma? Got Dave, BS, Simon. What's up, Simon? How's it going? John, Bad Duck. How's it going? Vince, what are you playing? We're not doing any gameplay tonight. Tonight is a review. Tonight we will be reviewing the Twilight Zone's first episode, first season, 16th episode, The Hitchhiker, which I'm pulling up right now just so that you guys can see it. See, the first thing it always goes to is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I'm like, nah, bro, like we're going more old school than that.
Much further back. It's really such a good episode though. Not all of them do it, but many do. I'm a Twilight Zone nerd. But like watching it, the ending, just my legs started tingling. You know, you get like those, I don't know.
It's the goosebumps.
Yeah, just up and down your legs. It's like, ooh, so creepy.
It is this one. Boom. Everybody knows this guy. It's like he's one of the most, I feel like he's one of the most iconic characters in like TV history, because it's just like from the inflection in his voice, like his cadence, to just like his kind of half smile. It's just like, oh. So, the episode in a nutshell is about a woman who's driving cross country from New York to LA. Now, in Pennsylvania, she blows out a tire and skids off the road, and by all accounts, it's a miracle that she's alive. Now, the mechanic who shows up, he's kind of like, my God, you're alive. This is a miracle. And she's like, yeah, well, whatever. Well, from this point on, she sees this dude show up every so often, to the point where it kind of makes her crazy and question everything. And spoiler for those of you who haven't seen it, spoiler alerts.
It's only been out since 1960, so if there are spoilers for you, it's on you at this point.
And we're gonna get into the history of it a little bit, because it's actually older than 1960, which is very fun. But essentially, she finally gets to this point where she's like, I can't take this. I need to call my mom. And she calls home, and this lady answers the phone and is like, no, this lady, she's not here. She suffered a nervous breakdown after her daughter died when her, oh no.
I'm still here.
when when her tire blew out, she skidded off the road, car turned over, and she died. So, and then she realizes that she's dead and she's not afraid of this guy anymore. And she realizes he's kind of like the Grim Reaper. So
They're they're pretty vague about it and how they explain it in the episode. She's just like,
yeah,
I think I understand now, and it's just like they don't really tell you outright like who he
yeah.
is or what he's doing, but yeah.
Which I'm going to pull up this screen so that we can kind of go through it. Hold on. We're gonna stop that one and present this one. Oh, hold on. Let me make this full screen. Slideshow. Okay. Boom. Courtesy of Jess.
Oh, thank you.
This is Nan Adams. She's 27. And mind you, okay, this was what, in the 60s? And this is supposed to be a 27-year-old.
Right.
Like, this was the standards of a 27-year-old in the 60s. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So she's driving cross country from Manhattan to LA. And this dude, he's the mechanic who comes to help fix her tire. Blowout skate, like he asks, like, geez, lady, how fast were you going? And she was like, oh, like 65, 70 miles an hour. And he's like, wow. But
back then the speed limits weren't anywhere near 65, 70. Like, that is wildly fast for the time period, right? And the roads and the highways back then, because 45, I think, is going back to I Love Lucy days. Like, when they would be able to go 45, 50 miles an hour, it was zooming, right? They would talk about road trips or time and whatever. And I was like, so for her to be like, oh, 65, no big deal. It's like, honey.
Right? And now, like, there are certain parts of 95 that are like 75. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. But yeah, like, especially because cars were different back then too, like tires and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so he was just in disbelief that she's even alive. Mind you, why can't I'm gonna have to look up the name of this actress. Oh my goodness. She is attractive.
And her waist, did you notice it?
Yes.
Like,
oh my god, that was so
super tiny.
I rewatched it earlier just so that I could get like refreshed on it, and just because it is a good episode. And like half the time I'm just like, oh my god, her waist is this big. This belt that she's wearing around her waist, it's this big.
It's a wristwatch. I'm sure of it.
But like her face though, she is gorgeous. We're gonna have to look her up. And she's just like, yeah, I was just going fast, oh well. And mind you, this was in Pennsylvania. She had only gotten to Pennsylvania from New York.
No.
One state. She didn't even make it the whole state.
Bad Duck had said, well, obviously she was never going to make it.
No kidding. But
who does that though? 27-year-old drives across America. I mean, I guess more people would do it now. But that's a wild idea.
To be fair,
to go alone.
Oh, okay, yes, to go alone. And this is what I'm gonna say. So I was stationed in Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas, which is about a 12-hour drive from Orange County, California, where I grew up. So I'm not so unfamiliar. Like, this is why I love this episode so much. And this is why it's like another reason why it stuck with me, because like I've done the drive between like at least Texas and California, and then Texas and Rhode Island. So I've done this whole stretch. I was traveling, like Mrs. Flux was in the truck and I was in my car, and like, we were moving from Texas to Rhode Island. And oh my God, that drive I mean, we had like walkie-talkies, or we just like had our cell phones or whatever, so we could
Yeah.
like constantly talk to each other. But holy cow, that drive, that distance is horrible. And to do it alone, like there were a couple times I drove between El Paso and California by myself. And again, that's only like a 12-hour drive.
Right.
And like I hated it because you can only listen to so much music before you're like, oh my God, like I just want to not be driving anymore. And to go all
Yeah,
the way
that's
from, huh?
I'm like, yeah, that's rough because I was living up in Northern California and I come down to visit family every month or two or so, and it's like a 5 hour drive. And even that, just 10 hours within a few days of, driving. It's not my
Yeah.
favorite thing. I don't hate it, but it's a lot. It takes a toll on you. And yeah, I mean, having to be alert and cautious, especially like now that the highways are what they are with the crazy drivers everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Considering back then most of the highways were 2 lane, not many people on them. Um, I would say not as dangerous, but here we are.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
But like, oh my God. Ugh. So yeah, I would never do this drive by myself ever. Not the entire distance. I think that would just be, I mean, I couldn't deal. I'm not the person that could deal with that. Not that distance alone. Yeah. Why is it
if
not?
something happens, you don't have the means to like help yourself. I mean, I guess you would trust a passerby to do the
Yeah.
favor, but that's just irresponsible.
Right? And especially, yeah. And like in this episode, it implies that she doesn't sleep at all, that she just drives and eats and drives and eats and
Yep.
drives.
That's what she says she does for 3 straight days to avoid this
Yeah.
man.
Yep. And so from the point of the time when she blows her tire, she starts seeing the infamous hitchhiker. And it just goes going my way, like headed this way. And she's like,
He just
she just drives by like it, like not paying him any mind. She gets to the gas station. He kind of jokes about the price of like a new tire and blah blah blah, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's cheaper than a funeral. At least I didn't die." Wink, wink, foreboding. Wink,
right.
wink.
And in the language too, because he says at the side, when he's helping her with her car in the first scene, you're
Yeah,
on the side of the angels. There's like all this like skewed language that kind of like implies what you're
right.
going to find out later.
Yeah, it's
It's kind of
kind
like
of
when you watched the I See Dead People movie. When you
no.
rewatch it the next time, you're
Can I tell
like,
you a
oh,
secret?
you haven't seen it.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. I never
Okay,
saw
I
that
won't.
movie.
I won't.
Legal Vice is in the chat. What's up, Jeff? How's it
Jeff.
going? Uh, but yeah, holy cow. That's a long drive. But yeah, I just like I forgot where I was going. I got distracted.
I derailed you. I am so sorry.
No, that's all right. I think I derailed myself by looking at the chat and like saying no peeing.
Nope,
Tammy
just driving,
distracted me.
driving
Yeah,
and
no.
eating.
She just drive, and then see that's another thing where it's like she doesn't do anything other than drive and eat and drive and eat. So it's like, okay, you're literally, well, maybe she's going to the bathroom while she's at the restaurants where she's eating.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
But, unless she has like a jar and a funnel or something.
Oh no. Oh God. Oh no. She's too pretty for that.
She is.
What oh
Oh,
Jesus.
right? I had to look it up. I'm like, okay, back in 1960, what does that mean, like price wise? What are we talking? I guess it's about right. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that seems, I mean, I feel like it would be more than that to travel that far. Or I mean, for a new tire. I
Yeah.
don't know. It depends. Maybe not. But interesting. Ah. Well, damn. That seems about right for today's standards. And then he's still. Am I going backwards? Why is it not? I don't know what it's doing. Okay, there we go. It started going backwards for some reason.
Oh,
So as
so
she's
she,
standing,
yeah.
go
Go
for
ahead.
it. You go for it.
No, so like she pays him their $22, which is like hundreds of dollars. Like, no big deal. Goodbye. But then she gets in the car and she looks in the mirror and he's there again. Because she's everywhere she stops, she's asking, do you get many hitchhikers around here? And they're like, no, that'd be weird. Why would they be here? So she sees talks to the mechanic guy, gives him money, gets in her car, like, okay, I can relax. That guy's probably long gone. And he's there again in the
Yeah,
mirror.
and he's like he's in her mirror, right? And she kind of gets that like, how is he behind me? He was like way behind me back then. And the mechanic's like, what's wrong? And she kind of like closes her mirror and she's like, I'm just staring, or I was just looking at the hitchhiker. And the dude's like, there's nobody there. And she's like, and he's like, he probably got picked up. He probably got picked up. And so the next scene, she's at a gas. Well, there's a few more scenes of her driving. She's like, I see him here, here, and here. And she gets to this restaurant and she's eating and mapping out her route. And she asks him, like, do you guys get a lot of hitchhiker? Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Entertain.
All right. So Mr. Diner Man is talking to her about the lack of hitchhikers. It's a particular dangerous junction or barren junction, one of those things. And but no, there wouldn't be any hitchhikers around these parts. So she just keeps getting like weirded out because first you have the mechanic guy who more or less kind of validated her delusion there. Where he said, oh, he probably got picked up. So she's trying to like rationalize it. I mean, that's what I take from it. But then she gets to this place and she gets a little spooked out by the guy. Entertain us. Oh, this isn't my StreamYard. I can't showcase your comments. I am so sorry. Um, but she gets to this guy and he's like, oh no, that's crazy talk to think there could be a hitchhiker around these parts. So next slide, whatever. She gets a little spooked out and she just wants to get her stuff and get back on the road and keep driving and driving and driving and not stopping. So it's there's lots of scenes in between of just like her driving through the countryside, her going, through the mountains and whatever. But D Nice Gamer in the house. Hello, hello. Over opinion as hat. Good to see you. So we had talked about doing these Twilight Zone episodes. I think we even mentioned it before Matsuri in August, but we really talked about it once we met up and stuff. So it's been fun gearing up for finally after months and months and months. It's a Teach and Chong joke. Cheech and Chong joke. God, I didn't pay attention to it. Thanks for the ride, lady. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, my dog and my cat got into it over a napkin.
Well, why not?
Like, and they were really getting into it. And when I say get into it, they scream at each other. That's all they do. There's no like actual biting or like fighting. They just literally scream at each other. And I'm like,
Damn it.
my God, not again. So I had to just yell at them to stop yelling at each other.
Yeah.
But sorry.
It's okay. I have pugs and they're kind of the same way. They just make a lot of racket and they're not very good fighters. So they just like open mouth, like just run into each other
They're
like
just like,
hippopotamuses.
and it's like, what
It's
are
the
you doing?
stupidest looking thing ever.
Yeah, and my cat just sits there and he'll do like the thing where he'll hit her on the top of the head with his paw and it just makes like this hollow thumping noise. That's like,
Bonk.
oh, there's nothing in there. Oh, and you can hear
Oh.
it. But ugh. But yeah, sorry about that.
Bye.
So yeah, essentially in this scene, he's just going on and on about how they never get hitchhikers because it's a turnpike.
That's right, the turnpike. I was like, what did he say? I'm like, never mind. Thank you for filling in for half my brain.
That's all right. And then so as uh as she's like, I've been driving for so long. She's like, I hate this car. I hate driving, but it's just so funny because she has like just this meltdown. And she's
Mhm.
like, I hate that car. And like goes
It
out
cracked me up.
and like just walks out. And it's like, I have my theories, but like, the people in the back, they just don't give a shit. And this dude's just kind of like, okay,
Right.
all
Weird.
right, what's up? How's it going? Like, okay, bye. Which is, I don't know. I'm like, again, I have my theories, which I will get to.
Oh,
Um, and so later on, she's traveling up this road and she has to stop for construction. And the the hitchhiker shows up and is like, "Are you going my way?" And she's like, "No, I'm not going west. I'm not going
it,
west. I'm just going up the road." And
and
like,
isn't this first time that he even says anything like audible to
uh,
her?
no, because I'm pretty sure at some maybe because I feel like he says going my way, but I have to rewatch it again. But this
Everybody
is
should
like the
rewatch
first
it.
time he's like going west. You're going my way, right? West? And she's like, "No, I'm not going west. I'm not going west. I'm just going up the road." I love her,
She's a donkey on the edge,
right? She really sells it though.
for sure.
It's going the wrong. I don't know if it's my keyboard that's like spamming out because I accidentally spilled Pib Extra on it last week. Um,
Oopsie.
and so as she's driving, she comes across a railroad because of course she comes across a railroad. And
Everyone does.
the arms are coming down and a train comes. So she stops. And of course, as she's sitting there just waiting for the train, it pans off, it's in the distance. Um, across the street or across the railroad tracks is the hitchhiker. Because of course he's there. And so instead of being on the safe side of the tracks, she's like, "Oh, I must go to the side where he's at and just zoom away from him." So
I'm
she
just gonna
tries
floor
to,
it.
right? She tries to floor it. Well, of course, as it just so happens, she stalls out right on the railroad tracks with the train coming,
As
which
is
is
tradition.
shocking. Didn't see that one coming. And so she backs up in like the nick of time. And she has this monologue which I want to play. And it's only a few seconds long. Actually, it's about,
Her
yeah.
monologues are really good in this.
Oh my god, it's what makes it. So hold on, let me bring this up. I'm going to stop this screen and present this one. And this is it. This I like just her face throughout this, like how she's describing like her inner monologue on her face is, I think, just beautiful.
Now the fear is no longer vague. The terror isn't formless. It has a form. He was beckoning me. That thin gray man in the cheap, shabby suit, he was beckoning me. He wanted me to start across. He wanted me to die. I know that now.
So much expression in her eyes.
Oh, that was part of it. But just those few seconds even just shows how good she was with describing like her terror on her face. It was,
Hmm.
I mean, her beautiful face, which,
She has a natural beauty. Even though she is wearing makeup, it's light makeup. You can see her freckles.
oh yeah,
You
I
know,
love that.
she's
Like
just
her, like
naturally gorgeous.
it's so, and so how it doesn't have the, I was hoping it would show up. You can kind of see, now this picture is just distorted, but so she's driving so furiously and so much she runs out of gas. So she sees the sign gas ahead and starts running for the gas station. And it's like banging on all the doors, like, let me in, I just want gas, please. And this dude, like, okay, this dude, he's like, leave me alone, I'm tired. And she's
It
like,
must be after midnight.
yeah, where he's like, it must be after midnight. She's like, it's only a little after 11. He's like, well, we close at 9. And it's funny because he's like, she's like, please help me, there's a man. And he's like, well, what's the man doing? And she's like, he's just standing there. All he ever does is just stand there. And first of all, like, red flag. Like, what do you mean all he ever does is just stand there? Like, is he stalking you? Is this a situation? Right. And she goes, I think he's trying to rob me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's what's happening.
I don't know if she really thought that or if it was just something to, like, to try to get the guy to help her, you know?
And he just
because
goes,
she said he just stands there. And then she was like, oh, he's trying to rob me. Like, to try to maybe kind of, like, get his pity to help her.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe. But his response cracked me up. Well, if he does, you come back here and I'll call the sheriff.
Right? It's like, well, after you're robbed and probably beaten and maybe dead, come back, I'll call the sheriff.
Amongst other things.
Right? I'm like, all right, my dude. And so this dude is a sailor who was hitchhiking, walking down the road, whatever.
He just appeared.
He appears and is like, hey there, how's it going? And
hey,
she's
pretty
like,
lady,
what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm on leave. I'm headed to my ship in San Diego. And she was like, come with me, please. I'll give you a ride. And he's like, oh, well, okay. And he gets the man to give him gas because, of course, a man can get another man to give him gas, you know.
She's like, oh, he's asleep. And he's like, well, let's wake him up.
Right?
And they do a cut scene. They don't really show, like, how he convinced the guy to get the gas, whether he beat him up a little, roughed him up a little, or whatever. Just, you know,
it kind of implies he roughed him up a little.
I got that impression, but they don't tell you. That's what I love about the series is they leave so much to your own imagination. They keep it so simple, stupid, that you can just, it makes your little thinky wheels just go, you know, and fill in the blanks with something probably even better than, like, the force-fed storytelling that's done in modern shows, and that they tell you every little thing. And it's like, oh, well, that's easy. But this, like, keeps you wondering, or, you know, if you're watching with someone else. Yeah, like, if you're watching with someone else, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah. But I'm just like, so this dude is questionable. We're gonna leave questions about this dude.
A little sus.
So they're in the car, and I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna say he was nice enough to ask if he could take off his shoes.
Yes.
He didn't just take off his shoes. He was like, would you mind if I take off my shoes? My feet are like 2 hot bricks. Whatever that means. I just
But he's a little too close in the car when he's talking to her. He's like right up in there.
Like, he's all the way over.
That's a wide car. That's not a Mini Cooper.
Yeah,
that's not my car.
He has room. So he tries to, like, make jokes with her, and she's just kind of, like, stone-faced, as you can see here, which, looking in hindsight and, like, watching this and looking this now, is this a director's choice to make her seem dead?
She does have that dead expression, the dead eyes.
He has, like, she gets this dead expression on her face where it's just no emotion. And then she kind of tries to fake it and tries to, is this leading up to because this is leading up to the moment where she does find out, and is this kind of the final giveaway where she's almost in, like, a dead trance, or she's dead.
Yeah.
And
it's like progressive. It's progressive. I mean, it happens pretty quickly because the episode is pretty short. They're only like 24 minutes long. But the progression, because she's all wide-eyed at the beginning, smiley and everything, and then progressively, as her stress and all that's waning on her, she looks more dead in the eyes and pale. Yeah. Like, her lips just don't really stand out from the rest of her face. Like, I didn't notice that. But yeah, in hindsight. Good catch.
But yeah. So she starts, like, she realizes that she's being kind of oblivious and kind of like out there.
Mm-hmm.
So she tries to break the ice with, hypothetically, if I'm going west at 50 miles an hour, could somebody hitchhiking that I pass every time beat me city to city? And kind of like starts explaining the situation. And he's like, I mean, I guess he's kind of like not really giving it any weight whatsoever. Well,
Right. He was trying to hit on her the whole time, and she's just staring
yeah,
deadpan like into the front, into the
yeah,
out through the windshield, right? And then she just like brings up out of nowhere this word math question, this like
right,
paragraph long math question. He's like, I guess,
right.
and yeah,
Vince says, "Is this season 1, episode 16?" It is. It
it is.
is. But yeah, no, it's funny because she's giving him like nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And then the 180 after, but
Yeah,
we'll get there.
and it's the full conversation about just oblige me a little bit. And then she sees him again. But this time she's got a man with her, so she feeling a little brave. She
A
feeling a
little
little
bit, yeah.
saucy. She's tired of this. She's had it up to here, and she's like, we're gonna hit him.
Yep.
And poor dude over here is like, what? And like trying to get him back. Look at that. That is a great shot. That is a great still from the episode.
That's so good.
Like, I gotta
Well,
say
she does
that.
it twice. Well, she swerves and tries to hit him, and then she sees
Yes.
him again. And the second time, he realizes what she's doing, and he tries to like grab the wheel because she's gonna crash them.
Oh man. And this is where I have to pull up what I tweeted out because I made myself laugh so hard.
You made me laugh too.
And I'm like, if you can't make yourself laugh, what's the point in trying to make other people laugh? Where did it go? Ooh, that was the wrong button, but also the right button, so who cares? This one. First guy to win, don't stick your dick in crazy. Because he saw this bitch, she was acting up, and he's like, nope, I'm out. Peace.
Well, and at this point, she was already, before he started getting out of the car, she's like, I like you. I want to be friends. I want you to take me out. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, no. He's already trying to get out of the car, grab his shoes. And she said, please.
She's like,
later, lady.
Right? She is like, bro, I will date you. I will do for you. Just stay with me. Like, take me out. Don't leave. And he's like, yeah, no, I want to arrive in one piece. Like, I just want to make it back, and you're not it. He's like, I'm going to put as much distance between me and this car as possible. I'm like, my dude, you
And
win.
then she takes the crazy to 11 at that point,
Yeah.
where
she's like
leaning out of the car.
And it's in the eyes. She's crazy in the eyes. But oh, my mouse is acting funny. There we go.
Everything's acting funny for me. So.
I know. It's, I think it's because I'm going to blame it on the wind. We're having really bad wind, and my electricity was already flickering a few times tonight. And I'm like my lights were like, wah, wah, wah. And I'm like, oh, that's not great. So I'm just hoping we don't have, I'm not going to say it out loud because I'm not going to jinx it. And I'm going to knock on wood so we're safe. But yeah, she definitely gets the crazy eyes. And then this is when she calls. Can I just say, like, these pictures have to be enhanced because how gorgeous are her eyes in black and white, and they're in black and white, but you can see they're two-toned.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was amazed because I've seen all these episodes tons of times over the years. I mean, the New Year's Eve marathons, I was there every time. Well, not lately, but I've seen them so often that I rewatched it. I'm like, oh my God, this is crispy. Like,
right?
It's amazing.
Like, this is so clean. These had to have been like digitally enhanced and reimagined and all that bullshit. But this is where she's had enough. She can't do it anymore. She's like, I gotta call mom. I need mom. We all have that moment in life where we're like, Mom, help, Mom.
And she's supposed to be in New Mexico at this point, so she's gone another few days. And this has like been 6 days since she left home, right? Is what she finds out on the phone about 6 days ago.
Yep.
Nan Bread was in an accident.
Yep. Where she calls and this lady answers the phone and she has no idea who the lady is. She's like, who are you? And she's like, well, you know, this lady's in the hospital because her daughter died and she had a nervous breakdown. And she's like, what? And she's like, her daughter died 6 days ago in a car accident when her tire blew out and she flipped over and died.
In Pennsylvania. Like she realized, like she didn't get very far and she just now realizes it. It's like, oh, honey.
Like she made it almost the entire way across the country before she realized she died. Spoiler alert.
Which I have questions. I mean, just so we find out she's actually dead at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Is this all just purgatory? Or all the people that she's met along the way, are they even real people? Are they in purgatory as well?
I have theories.
Okay. All right. I will button up and wait.
Oh, well, I was just gonna like this is pretty much she realizes like she's dead and she's not afraid anymore. And she's like, oh, I'm dead. I have no emotion. I'm cool. And then this is what she pops in the car and he's in the back seat. But instead of being afraid, he's just like, I believe you're going my way.
Yeah, he's so creepy. What's funny about him is he reminds me of a combination of my dad and Humphrey Bogart. Like, he looks so similar in some ways. I'm like, oh, this is creepy for me on another level. But yeah, she has another little monologue after she, you know, just lets the phone drop, and she's like, she doesn't say I feel at peace. She's more ambiguous than that. With her choice of words, or their choice of words, the writers. But she's like talking about the stars and feeling the air and like being able to just like basically breathe again. Like everything makes sense to her on a certain level, but they're still so vague about it. It's really well done.
Yeah, I agree. And like, okay, so my theory is that everybody she comes into contact with is dead.
I was thinking,
right? Because it's like, it makes sense because she only runs into really singular people.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was the mechanic and he died either in a car accident on the way there or like whatever. Then the next person she talks to is like the waiter.
Well, the construction worker even before that. It's one person. You don't see any of the work being done. It's just one guy there with like a stop sign. So it's all just one-on-one interactions.
Except for the diner scene, which has those two other people in the background.
But they look elderly.
They look
right.
Well, I don't know if they look elderly, but they do not acknowledge those two whatsoever. And it's not like their conversation is quiet. And when she's like standing there and goes, I hate that car, and then storms out, there's no reaction from them.
Nobody turns around at all.
They don't look at her, nothing. So my thing is, those two are living. And dude is, you know, just a dead waiter who doesn't know he's dead and he's still doing his job. And
you need to see The Sixth Sense now. Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. I still need to watch Rogue One because I haven't watched Rogue One. There's a list. I'm going to add it to the list. But chat, I'm sorry I've been ignoring you. How are you? We've got Vince gifting a membership. Thank you so much, Vince. Who got it? Project Metal Music. What's up, my dude? Nice. Over opinionated ass hat says, most of the time I dream in black and white. Is that weird? Does anybody else do that? Oh, I don't know if I dream. No, I dream in color. I definitely dream in color. What about you?
I think so. I can read sometimes in my dreams.
You can
basic stuff.
What do you mean read?
Like signs. Like not sitting down and reading a book in my dream, but like they say that you can't read. Well, some people have said that. Maybe it was just a Batman animated series episode that said you can't read in your dreams.
Nice.
But I don't know. That's the thing.
Interesting. No, because I like lucid dream and stuff.
Oh, I
So
can't do
like
that.
most of the time, as soon as I realize that I'm like dreaming, I lose the ability to like control everything, and then everything kind of turns into like the natural way of doing things because my brain's like, this stuff isn't possible. Now that I realize you're dreaming, it's not possible. So you can't do any of this stuff. And it
Oh, I
really
believe everything in a dream. Flying cows, cool. If they can
oh,
do that now. There's always an explanation. I'm like, oh, easy. Sweet.
nice. But
Very
like,
impressionable.
so, also, fun fact with this episode, did you know that it was loosely based off of a true story?
I did not know that. And you have some
Yeah.
other factoids about it too.
So the writer, she was doing a similar road trip where she saw a hitchhiker at one point and then she saw him, at another point, and then from that she kind of turned it into the ghost story. So like
Mhm.
loosely based off of a true story, but that the main character was actually a dude.
And that was you'd mentioned the audio drama version of this before, the television
Yeah.
series
It,
did include
so
a
go for
guy,
it.
right?
Yes.
Was it
So
a guy in the audio drama?
yes. So
Okay.
this came out as a radio play in the 1940s. And the dude who um the dude who bought like wanted to turn it into a Twilight episode,
Mm-hmm.
he had heard the story when he was a teenager. And so in the 60s when he was like, making TV and stuff, that's when he wanted to buy this story, which you know who else was interested in buying this play or this radio play?
Who?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Interesting.
He
So
wanted it.
this wasn't a Rod Serling original? Because he wrote a lot of the stories that were
No,
featured. Okay, so it was a
no,
purchased story.
yes, this was a which. So Alfred Hitchcock offered $2,000 for it at the time. Now,
Oh,
I can't remember his name. The guy who created the Twilight Zone.
Rod Serling.
No. It
No,
wasn't him.
he was.
Maybe I can't remember who it was. Now I have to relook that up. But either way, he was able to buy it for $2,000, but also $1,100 every time it aired after that.
Oh,
Right?
that's
Right?
pricey back then.
And so I like this episode. I know a bunch of facts about it. So in the 1940s, it was read on air by Orson Welles, which, like, of course, it was an Orson Welles story. And again, like the main character was male.
Mm.
And so when asked like about the uh movie version and whatnot, she didn't like that they changed the gender. She thought that it would lose like suspense and it would lose that like fear if it was a woman. And I'm like,
Interesting.
no, that increases. What are you talking about? That increases it so much more because like a chick can't fight back as easy. Like she was mad because she's like, it loses its like level of fear because it's a chick. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it does the
No
opposite.
way.
Because like if it was a dude driving,
All on his own. Like, I think a guy would be better equipped to
yeah,
protect himself. I mean, compared to Little Miss wears a rich wristwatch around her tummy. Like,
right?
she gets snapped in half. I mean, come on. Inherent fear in just like her size and her ability to defend herself. If said weirdo in a tattered suit was really interested in
Yeah.
harming her. I mean, if it was a guy, it'd be
Like a guy wouldn't
fisticuffs.
give a fuck,
Fisticuffs.
right? Like
Be like,
they
dude, why
would
are you following
fight.
me? Come on, knock it off. You
Yeah.
weirdo.
Like it would not be an issue I feel like it would not be as big of an issue if it was a dude.
But
So
we're
I
bigots
actually,
and misogynists, so.
yeah, yeah. I actually, I like it better as a female because I think it raises that level far more. Because
What
again, like,
did
and
that
I'm
person vocalize that opinion like before the episode aired? Was it like in prep leading up to it that she was like, I
no,
don't see it being.
I think it was in response,
Oh, weird. Because I mean, Psycho had already come out.
right?
There are so many actresses in that, like especially horror genre, that did a really great job with the suspense and thrill and fear. That I'm surprised that that was the response, and maybe and not so much a preemptive remark or before it came out.
Right? Now
Weird.
it's not like as it is a little different from like the original story that than this radio play. Like the storyline is mostly the same, most of the elements are the same, but they just changed a few things, and I'm like, I was thinking of the sailor scene. I'm like, that wouldn't play as well with a dude,
No.
because like the whole reason they imply that he can get the gas is because he's a dude.
Big
So
strong
like,
man, kind of take
yeah,
damsel in distress, I'm here to save you, kind of a thing.
right,
But back to what we were talking about, like everyone's already dead. The
yeah,
premise, like a sailor out of nowhere in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Like, sorry, cussing, but
no,
seriously,
see,
I forget
yeah.
where I am sometimes.
No, that's, we curse here. We use all the First Amendment
Huzzah!
allowances.
And if you're a
But
sailor, there's 13 bad words, according to Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob. There's like 7 bad words or something. He's like, and if you're a sailor, there's 13.
I've never
Anyway,
counted them.
I'm just trusting Mr. Krabs.
Good source. Good source.
Quality.
But like, this episode is so, it's so trippy, and like, so like I said, like before, I used to live in El Paso,
Mm-hmm.
and my family is from Orange County. So I'm sure you know it. Everybody knows the I-10. The I-10 stretch. Like if you travel anywhere in the West, like in the Southwest, you're going to be traveling along the I-10. And so there were like a couple times where I'm like driving, especially a couple times like I said, I did that a couple times by myself. And like there's so many miles of just desert where it just looks like you're passing the same thing over and over. And the whole time I'm just always like, Twilight Zone. I'm going to find a random
Mm-hmm.
hitchhiker over and over. That's just going to be a thing. I just, I loved it and hated it. Because I just, mm-mm. It's like, I don't want that to be me.
But it gets you thinking. Also, this episode reminded me, I think it was a Tales from the Crypt episode, where the driver just keeps seeing the same person on the side of the road. And
Oh, yeah.
it's something, it's been a couple decades since I've seen that episode, but these two kind of like are, they go hand in hand as far as like when I'm driving at night and through the desert. It's like I
Yeah.
think about both of those things. In that case, that guy, the person that he kept seeing was somebody that he had actually killed, right? I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
need to go back on that, but yeah, they keep seeing like the ghost of said person like every so often on the highway. So driving through the desert in the middle of the night, especially like it's 3 hours or so to Vegas, in those long trips and middle, pitch black, and it's like you're on a 2-lane highway at some point, and it's, I don't know, this episode and the little bits I can remember of the Tales from the Crypt episode always like creep in, and it's like I'm gonna see somebody on the side of the road.
Well, see,
I'm gonna keep seeing them.
I think the reason that is so terrifying is because it is so realistic. Like it's you see people on the side of the road. It happens. And so like the fact that like, is that gonna, could it maybe be the same one? Like I don't know. Like, there have been times where I've traveled and, when you're traveling along the I-10, people tend to be like going the same direction for a long time. So you pass somebody, at some point you stop for gas, you see them go by and like, they take off. And then so eventually you get back on, they're stopped for gas, you pass them. And it's like that happened. So I'm like, you could potentially see the same person at like, if you don't catch that they're passing, like, I don't know. But again, I was a driver, so like I've driven a lot, and like, oh my god, it's just I I will never drive that much again. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I hate it so much.
And there's something about like Twilight Zone and true crime and all of that kind of content that I consume, right? So like driving through the desert, we went to the Santa Barbara Zoo last weekend.
Oh,
So it was nighttime,
I know where
and
that is.
it's a great little zoo.
It is. It's an
So
underrated little zoo.
they revamped it. It's wonderful. And they
Is
have
it?
craft beer and pizza and all that shit now. Oh, damn it.
What?
No, it's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, driving through the desert on the way home, you see headlights in the distance, right? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
you hiding a body? It's
Right?
my
Oh my
go-to. Why is that my
god.
go-to?
Because it's funny.
And it could be true.
And it could be true. Oh. So I do also have a theory that kind of supports our theory and that they're all dead.
Oh,
And how she's able to call home and actually talk to an operator and reach people is because in different Twilight Zone episodes, there is like dead people who can talk through phones. That has to do with like,
ah.
right?
So it's consistent in the universe, right?
Right?
The rules.
Exactly. So it's like we see that, I don't know if it's before or after, but it's where like the dead grandma keeps talking to the kid through the toy phone, and it's like,
Oh, that's
ooh,
great.
it's that's a terrifying episode. But like, I'm like,
Well,
it
and
makes
that's a
sense.
consistent theme in the genre just across the board, right? Telephones, um,
Yeah.
the ghosties can talk through the wires and stuff. So it
See, the Twilight Zone was such a good series because it took things like, all that creepy stuff, but it made it just creepy enough to be creepy, but not over the top and like horrific,
family friendly, you
but
know,
kind of not.
but kind of not. Just a little edgy.
Right? Right? And did you grow like, cuz you did you grow up in California?
Yeah.
So like, did you grow up with the New Year's Day or New Year's Eve Twilight Zone marathons?
Yes.
Oh my
I've
god,
missed the
those were
last
the
couple, but
best. Do
I
they
would try
still
to
do
watch
them?
it every year. They do. They used to have it on the Sci-Fi channel. I think they
Oh
still might.
wow. I'm gonna have to. Well, I mean, I have. They're on Amazon Prime, so I have access to them. But
Did you catch that they changed? Okay, so back in like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, they changed the Sci-Fi channel from SCI-FI to SYFY.
yeah, to
I
Siffy.
hated that. I hate it. They just changed it back recently. I just noticed their logo is back to SCIFI, as it
Is
should
it
have
really?
always remained. Yes.
Are they gonna try and Mandela affect us with that?
Like Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because we've been watching Resident Alien, and now
Mhm.
we're caught up to the newest season and it's on FX now. But the earlier seasons have the SCIFI logo. I'm like, get out of town. You're messing with me, people.
We're gonna look because I hate. It's so stupid because that's Siffy. It's not sci-fi. It's Siffy, and Siffy is
Oh,
stupid.
it was so stupid. I was so upset.
Uh, it still says Siffy is the official site.
Ugh, I'll do some homework later.
Unless this is like the wrong thing. What is it? SCI? Oh, wait. No, it's still Siffy.
No. I'm going to go back to those Resident Alien episodes. I'm going to screenshot that. Because
Yeah,
they're pulling some,
they're
I don't
they're
know.
messing with people.
Mhm.
Especially that Fruit of the Loom BS.
There was a
Like,
cornucopia
there was.
for forever.
I had a picture somebody sent me where it's like the t-shirt, and I was like, that's legit with the t-shirt and the cornucopia. You can't fake some stuff, and like that's a real picture of like somebody holding up a t-shirt with like a logo in the back.
And it's worn too. It's not like super crispy. It looks
It's not like
weathered.
it's like this
I
isn't.
think it was around the time they changed sci-fi to sci-fi, where
Well,
all the brands were like trying this new school, like I
and
don't
they're
know.
trying to erase everything from the past.
Yep, didn't happen.
I don't trust the government. They're trying to trick us.
Always.
But I mean, every single episode of, well, not every single episode, most of the episodes of the Twilight Zone are awesome. There are a couple that are like, probably not. But
Most
this
of the
one,
most of the Vietnam War ones, I couldn't really get all that into.
yeah.
Those are a little
Yeah.
rough for me.
And there's one where like a guy, I don't know if he makes wishes, but like I feel like he makes bad wishes, and it's just like that's how terrible the episode is I only remember that he makes wishes and he's terrible.
Your brain's like, we don't need that memory. It's gone.
Right? Like we're just gonna check that one out.
Purged.
But oh, and real quick, John H says, hey, I forgot to say hi to Gary. Hi, Gary. That's Gary.
Oh, I am unfamiliar with Gary.
Yeah, Gary started hanging out with us a couple weeks ago, and now he just chills over there. And
Hi, Gary.
for the longest time, I needed it. Like I was just kind of a basic painting, but then I kind of decided I loved him, and then I gave him a
Oh.
name, and now he's just gonna stay there forever. So,
Oh no. God damn it.
hey, tech issues happen.
Tech issues.
Although, if you pretend it doesn't happen, then you can make
It never did.
they're crazy
It
because I
never
still
happened.
see you. You're not. Your
Yeah,
camera's still working just fine. What are you talking about?
absolutely. Get your eyes checked, people. Always
Mhm.
was. Always was working.
Always has been.
Always has been.
Always will be.
Forever.
Lady Autumn Sky in the house says, yeah, that Fruit of the Loom stuff is wild. Man, the whole Mandela effect thing is wild.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do they think people don't have those items and garments in their drawers or closets? Do they think that okay,
I mean,
we're just
maybe
gonna say it
because
never happened?
those are things
Hmm.
that are pretty like easily like t-shirts, underwear, and socks. Like those are replaced, I feel like pretty frequently. And so I think
Sure.
they are those types to be like, yeah, everybody replaces their stuff on a weekly basis like we do.
And the people that keep those items from 20 years ago, they're not on the internet. They're not gonna
Right?
know.
They're not gonna understand what's happening. But no, I just so did you ever watch what's that show? Publishers Clearinghouse?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out because Mrs. Flex says they're trying to Mandela effect that.
There was a show?
Yeah, where the dude showed up with a check and was like, "You won."
Oh, I don't know if they were full episodes, but I remember like commercials and stuff. Like there were like mini-sodes or
Do you
something
know who?
in
Do you know who
between
the host
shows and during
was?
the day. They had a couple different ones. I want to say Vince McMahon.
See,
That's his name, right?
and
From
apparently,
the Stars show. I think he was part of the Publishers Clearinghouse checks
yeah.
delivery
See,
thing.
I'm pretty sure that's or not. It's I believe you're right. And But no, if you look it up, they're trying to make the entire world forget that like they're straight up denying he was ever there. And
That
like
the checks never showed
no,
the
that
giant checks.
he
that
never
that he
worked.
wasn't.
Yeah, that he never was there. He never did any of that. And Mrs. Flux is like, he was. I saw him. But apparently, if you Google it or you try and look anything up, it's not there. It's like it never happened, which is odd.
It's very
Ed
odd.
McMahon.
Ed
There you
McMahon.
go.
Thank you.
I think Vince is the bad one.
I think he's the wrestling one, right?
Yeah, I think he's the bad
Oh,
one.
no.
I'm like, I think that's the one, but I don't know.
McMahon something.
Right?
Mr. McMahon, old guy.
Ed. No, apparently if you look it
Ed.
up, they're denying it. But I
Why?
haven't checked. I don't know.
Next thing you know, they're going to say Wilford Brimley was never the diabetes guy.
I mean, I don't think it's. I think if they wanted to try and pull some type of mass, psyop, they could totally try and possibly succeed and convince like half the internet that people don't exist, and half the internet's gonna be like, yeah, okay, and the other half's gonna be like, no, we remember, but like with almost no proof. But
screenshot everything.
Right?
External hard drives. You can't leave anything on the internet
unless the Mandela effect is like spillover from why can't I think of it right now? The superconductor thing. Why can't I remember what it's called? In Switzerland. The super... I can't think of it now. The thing that changed the timelines. They turned it on this year. Well, I'm blanking on this so hard.
Apparently, I was affected by this device. I'm unfamiliar.
We were all affected by this device because it changed the timeline, but they just won't say anything. I gotta look this up because I'm so mad at myself for forgetting. Not forgetting, just why can't I remember this? Oh my god, their memory holding us. CERN!
Yep.
Thank you. CERN. Thank you. CERN in Switzerland is the giant machine that they're using to smash particles together to try and open up a wormhole and dark matter and all that stuff. Yeah, and this year, I think it was 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. Ever since 2020, all the years have kind of 20 is kind of still continuing, I feel. Like we never got out of 2020. But that could be just me. But whenever they turn CERN on, Hadron Collider, Super Collider, exactly. They're trying to discover yeah, they're trying to discover like dark matter and stuff. And the most recent time they turned it on was like the most powerful explosion or like implosion contacts. Because they're like essentially trying to recreate like the aftermath of the Big Bang, because they want to know what happened after the Big Bang and like understand the dark and antimatter and like.
Have they never seen a sci-fi movie before? Catastrophe movie, sci-fi, like have they never ever?
They didn't watch the Twilight Zone enough.
Good grief.
Yeah, so it's like a super collider, and like they hit at enough force, like so that they're essentially trying to recreate the Big Bang. And they opened up another. How are
they supposing that they can contain such a thing? Well, I mean, without like Transformers and aliens coming through.
CERN is ginormous. CERN is like a giant tunnel that is like, I don't know, 26 miles in diameter or something. Let me pull. Girl, have you?
No.
Oh man, hold on. We gotta look up CERN for you real quick. Let's go to images.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna step away for just a quick moment.
Yes.
BRB.
Yes. So we're gonna pull up like, oh, it's 100 kilometers. That's a lot. And it's funny because when you think about it, like in Flash, this is essentially what the I mean it is the same thing as a Hydrant Collider. But that's how Flash like runs really fast and trains essentially in this thing, but the fantasy version. Oh, John H says that they made a tiny black hole. Yeah. They do a lot of bad things there. It's a super collider. Hold on, I want to see. I also, because they did that weird ritual thing, and they're like, "Oh, it's just an act. It was just," and it's like, "Oh, yeah," because that's something normal people do. That's something that like normal people just. I don't understand. Weird shit. I'm gonna see if that brings up anything. Because they had that weird, like.
So, is this like the Upside Down? Is this inspiration for like the Upside Down in Stranger Things?
Whoa!
Something like that.
Yes.
Oh no! Rabbit hole.
Do you want to join me one time when we talk about the real life CIA documents that is Stranger Things?
Yes.
Where it's the Stargate experience or Stargate
Experiment?
experience. No, experience.
Oh, experience.
It's an experience because it talks about both hemispheres being combined into one, and then you're able to have these like outer body it's Stranger Things, but an actual legitimate CIA document and CIA thing.
Get out of here.
Nope.
Yes, please.
Nope, where it
Please share.
talks about I'm pulling that up real quick because I want to prove to y'all because I read this, I started reading some of this, and I'm like, this is from CIA.
I'm surprised those were ever released or leaked or whatever. Like,
yeah, these are on the CIA. Yeah, I've been to it's the CIA website. Hold on. It's like the CIA.gov documents. All right. Say CIA.gov reading room documents. Share screen. Oh, let me pull up the right screen. Boom. Now we have gone, like, I think I've gone over the first section on my channel before, but we haven't like done a deep dive into it. And it's, Commander, U.S. Army Operational Group, and you tasked me to provide. Oh yeah, look at this. 1983.
oh,
And it's analysis and assessment of gateway process. And then it talks about you tasked me to provide an assessment of the gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and its ultimate practicality. Hold on. Let's get into the introduction in order to describe Monroe's Institute technique for achieving altered state of consciousness, the gateway experience, involving brain hemisphere synchronization, or a hemisync. Essentially talking about the two hemispheres of your brain being able to merge together as one functioning unit instead of two hemispheres. So it talks about, hypnosis. I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see me pointing at the screen.
we can.
Oh, good. So like hypothesis. This gets me so like hypnosis. So according to theories of psychologist Ronald Stone and the biomedical engineer models of something. Hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of a direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers. Basically, the hypnosis helps your brain kind of release its inhibitions.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is this going into like mind control kind
Yes.
of efforts? Okay.
Not so much mine can, but you know how like 11 can kind of go places while she's like out of it and like see things and hear things?
Yeah.
That's what it's talking about. Like out of
Okay.
body or out of body, outer
Like
body.
astral projection
Yeah,
type of.
astro projection, that kind
Okay.
of stuff. And
Weird.
here's where it shows these diagrams of like the brain and like the sensory cortex and like stuff. It's talking about biofeedback, so like, you know, kind of having the biofeedback help. This third conscious altering method, which will be briefly described, somewhat unique in that actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to areas of the right brain, such as the lower cerebral, motor, and sensory cortex. Interesting.
So has this project, I mean, is there any indication that they continued, or because this was released 20 years later? So, and
I
then what?
mean,
Then it's like,
I mean, I don't know, because it talks about like interdimensional beings and shit. RIP headphone users, interdimensional beings. It's a really long document. Oh, look at this. Point number 12. It talks about holograms. Interesting. And it talks about how the whole world is a hologram and how the universe is just a
nothing's real.
hologram. No, how we're all just energy and like our brains are just energy projecting this hologram that makes us think. So essentially, that the Matrix is real life and that everything is just a projection and we're just energy. Yeah.
And we process it in a way that will, our nervous
That,
system and all that will accept it.
yeah, apparently. I mean, I still don't understand. Oh, it does. It talks about the consciousness matrix. There you go. Yep. But
When is your next unexplained stream?
so on Friday we will be doing an unexplained at 8 p.m. and we're going to be talking about cryptids. So we're going to be talking about Bigfoot. We're going to be talking about Bigfoot. No, we'll probably talk about the chupacabra and the jackalope, but mostly Bigfoot because, like, Bigfoot's everybody's favorite cryptid. Like, he's cool.
He's
But,
legend.
right? He's like the most legendary next to the jackalope or the
For sure.
chupacabra.
The goat sucker.
Right? But I want to do like a deep dive into this because I still don't understand like half of what this shit is saying. And I'm like, I need somebody to explain this to me because I don't understand. They're saying the universe and the hologram is what makes up the human brain. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
I wonder if ChatGPT or OpenAI could give us a summary of some of
That
these
would be
things.
fun.
Let's save some steps in research, I would hope. They'd be like, no, it didn't exist. It never happened. You're not seeing what you think you're seeing.
Right? Bobby Bologna says, careful, Jess. Flex is a little touched. I'm awesome. Val, I'm not falling for that. I am not falling for that again, Valhalla.
Not again.
Shame on you. Shame on you. But yeah, no, I need somebody to read this and understand it better than I can and then explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yes. Please and thank you.
Yeah. But no, this is an interesting. Oh, look, yeah, see, it talks about remote viewing In addition, the energy bar tool is used as a portal for initiating a follow-on technique called remote viewing. In its context, the participant turns his bar of energy into a whirling vortex through which he sends his imagination in search of a new and illuminating sight. The apparent purpose of the symbolism involved in the vortex seems to be cue to the subconscious and convey to its instructions as it is the participant wishes to do. But in terms of nonverbal symbols, which the right hemisphere of the mind is capable of understanding.
That's bizarre. Do you know, in reading what you've read so far about all of it, is there like an apparatus, or is it just like a psychological hypnosis type of thing that
From what
taps into this? Or
from what I gather, it's like those stimulation chambers or
oh, the deprivation, sensory
deprivation. Yeah.
deprivation pods or whatever?
Yeah, the
Weird.
sensory deprivation is like what I gather, but yeah, nope, this is a weird one. That's a weird one for me. So we definitely got
More
to get into
research is
that one.
needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never heard it before. Thank you.
Right? But it's from the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command from Fort Meade, Maryland, which that's not so far from where I am right now. So, like,
Storm the castle. Demand answers. You go get them.
no tank here. They would shoot me down, bang bang. But so back to, like, you know, the main gist of you know, the Twilight Zone. This episode, I feel like, is really one of the most iconic because it kind of encapsulates all of the Twilight Zone. Where it's like, you want to know what the show's kind of about? Watch this episode. And
And
it's
it
like,
leaves you hanging. It leaves
yeah,
your little imagination wheels going after the fact. You know, it's thought provoking. It's, you know, what does it mean? But then
what
it
is
gives you enough to
happening?
go, okay. Like it gives you just enough. You know,
Yeah,
I like those episodes. Like not so much with Twilight Zone, but with other things trying to be a Twilight Zone, or like they have these cliffhangers that just really piss you off.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever been like really angry at the end of a Twilight Zone episode, even though a lot of them are often cliffhangers. Like I'm
yeah,
not angry about it. It's
yeah.
like,
Where it's like, it leaves
oh,
you just enough to be like, okay, let me ponder.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's definitely I would agree with that. I love it so much because I love a good mystery, but I also like want to know the answer. Like, don't just leave me with nothing. Give me something to hang on to.
Even the episode with the guy who just wants to read books and be left alone.
Right?
He's kind of an asshole. So like,
Yeah.
even though like the end's kind of sucky, it's like you already kind of hate the guy enough to be like, oh, okay, well
To
that
be
sucks for you.
right? And I love that so much about it, where it's like, if it was anybody else, would be like, oh my God, this is the most devastating thing.
So tragic.
But because it's this dude, you're like, oh, well, kind of sucks to suck.
Pretty much.
Oh man. I love that episode. It's such a great one.
What
But
episode are we
which,
doing next?
I was gonna say, I was literally
Oh,
just gonna say that. Which episode would you like to do next?
I was thinking Talkie Tina,
Oh,
the doll.
that one was terrifying.
Well,
Yes.
don't want to talk too much about it right now, but it has inspired so much of in the entertainment
Yes.
world and like TV shows and movies from decades past, and they're still doing it. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
latest one, what was her
Oh,
name?
Megan.
Megan. Yes, that I didn't know what to expect going into that. It's actually pretty funny.
I loved that movie. I watched it with my niece. She was, I think, 13 at the time. And I loved it. We laughed. It was like a little suspenseful, but it was
We love.
hilarious. I loved it so much. I'm like, this is like reminiscent of like a 90s movie to me.
Yeah,
Like
it had
90s
some
horror.
member berries to it for sure.
Yes. It for sure did. I loved it so much. But,
But yeah, Talking Tina, it's a creepy one. And now that I mean, I think for people first watching it when it came out back in the 1960 or the early in the 50s, it
mhm.
would have been more terrifying because I don't think you, as a person back then, would have seen something like that as without Twilight Zone doing it
Yeah.
first. Um, I'm sure there were novels and stories and that passed down, but to see it, it's probably the first time for an audience. But since then, we've grown up with that, and it's still creepy watching it, even though I've
Right.
seen that one before. I've seen so many different, iterations of a similar story of said thing happening. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I think it's a interesting one. It also has a psychological and that's a lot of Twilight Zone, right? The
Yeah.
person thinks they're crazy, other people think they're crazy. They're not actually crazy, you know.
Mhm.
So it's fun.
Yeah. I definitely and then we're gonna have to do at some point, we're gonna have to do the one, there's so many good ones.
There's too
There's so
many.
many good there's so we'll just keep going. We're just gonna keep
Why not?
going. But, I think I think that'll do it for tonight's stream. I think that was a good breakdown. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
I don't know about y'all, but I had a good time.
I had fun.
I was I mean, and I did, uh, I just I love getting into, like, the background of stuff and kind of digging a little deeper, especially into, like, stuff that we grew up on. Like,
Mhm.
I I only recently, like, probably I mean, maybe, like, a year or so ago, like, learned all this stuff about, it was written by this woman in the 1940s, and dude heard it on the radio, and it stuck with him so much, he wanted to turn it into a Twilight Zone episode. So much so that he beat out Alfred Hitchcock for it, which
Paid some money. Dang. It's like, I
right?
must have you.
Right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
get that. Like that, like just wanting something so bad and like just hanging on until you can get it. Like that's dedication right there. But
Bad Duck, you're gonna get a beat down for
what is
sure.
Bad Doug doing? Army intelligence? Wait, what? There's no such thing. But guys, thanks for hanging out. Everybody, go over to Moxie Dame. We got. Are you at 1,000 subs yet?
No, I'm at like 814 or something.
Guys, why does she not have 1,000 subscribers?
As I haven't been consistent about putting content out, but I want to do better. So maybe if I get some pressure with some subscriptions, maybe I would.
Yeah, you gotta subscribe and then I'll put out
Go the
shit.
other way. Reverse
All right.
psychology.
Hey, that works.
For sure.
Guys, go
God
over.
damn it.
Uh, wait, am I pointing? I need to point this way. I
Yeah,
think.
you're left. Unless your
That's
camera's
so
reversed.
weird. Is my camera? I don't know. I might have
I don't
reversed my
know.
camera. No, I'm right. Yeah. Everybody, go over to Moxie Dame, hit subscribe, like her videos, and hang out on her stuff because she puts out good videos. And she got somebody
Yeah.
canceled, but still got them interviewed. That was fun.
That was kind of a funny thing, Nemesis. So he was like out in the post. He's like, "So you got this guy canceled?" He's like, and then he goes to you after the fact for like support. It's like, oh no,
Right? I
I'm
mean,
so sorry.
it's a good cause, and it's I mean, just the right just
Oh,
saying like normal people things.
normal people things. Oh, I am in talks with Mr. Solomon Anderson about getting something on. So
Ooh,
that'll
I
be
will
interesting.
stand by for that.
Yeah. So
Where else can they find you?
I do have a Rumble channel. Rumble's a little hard to navigate as a creator, to be honest, and especially with changing the name. You can't just change your name and have the same channel. So I am available as Waifu Kron for past content and Moxie Dame for this year going forward. Surly Durly on Twitter, and my link tree is there. So if nothing else, Surly Durly on Twitter, you can find all the links to all the things. Yeah, I'm around.
Nice. Well, guys, you know what time it is. It's time to say goodnight. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed for all the notification thingies so that when we do more of these, you guys can like come and hang out. We're going to be continuing fluxing around. Oh, tomorrow on Fluxing Around. I don't know how, do you ever hang out in Megan Fox's chat?
It's been a bit since I've been really like involved in the chats, just sick kid and life and stuff,
Yeah.
but I have been in the chat and I'm familiar with the names of
Do
the
you know
people.
Squid? Squid
No.
Pro Quo?
No.
Oh, she's one of the mods. She's a really cool chick, and she is a former veteran, or she's a veteran former airman. So she's coming on to hang out tomorrow, which is cool because that'll be
Wait.
the first time I think we're all meeting her. So I'm like, oh hell yeah. So I think I'm gonna try and do like fluxing around is having like more people on and stuff. So like I think maybe you should come on a Thursday night fluxing around soon. I think that should be
Sure.
soon too. And yeah, so guys, tomorrow night, regular flexing around with Squid Pro Quo. Friday, we are doing the unexplained, I think on Jeff's channel. Yeah, it's Jeff's channel. The unexplained. Saturday, Minecraft mornings. Sunday, I'm taking a damn day off. And then
Much deserved.
Monday, I mean, I might not take a day off. I might do a Skyrim day.
TBD.
Right? We'll see. We'll see. But guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have an excellent night. Be excellent to each other, and we will see you guys around. Have a good one.